with her eyes closed, waiting for one of the church elders to announce her entrance into the sanctuary. When he did, a female usher opened the door and Raven walked inside, smiling and waving to her members. Their high-spirited applause and standing ovation never ceased to amaze her, and it always sent her adrenaline into overdrive. She absolutely loved the incredible way her congregation welcomed her every Sunday morning, and she couldn't imagine them not doing it. She knew this wasn't the norm, a pastor being formally announced and then making a grand entrance into the sanctuary. But from the first service she'd held, this had been the way they'd greeted her. They'd done it without her even expecting them to. And it had motivated and inspired her so much that she decided to make her special introduction permanent. Kane, her significant other of 1 year, thought her celebrity-style intro showed no humility and wasn't appropriate for a pastor. And she could tell that Portia basically felt the same. But Raven paid no attention to either of them, not when she believed that all pastors, especially founders of churches, deserved to be treated with unique honor and praise. She stepped up the pulpit stairs and then behind the glass podium. "Thank you all so very much. Thank you for being the blessing that you are and for showing me more kindness and love than any pastor could ask for." The applause continued, but soon Raven raised both her hands, gently motioning for everyone to take their seats. Then she subtly checked beneath the podium, making sure the hospitality staff had poured ice water in her favorite crystal glass and set it on a small sterling silver platter alongside her lace-trimmed handkerchiefs. Last week, they'd used some other glass that she'd never seen before, and for a few seconds, their reckless mistake had thrown off her concentration. From the very beginning, though, she'd made it clear to everyone who worked for New Vision Christian Center and New Vision Ministries, Inc. that she had pretty high expectations. She warned that certain errors wouldn't be tolerated. So thankfully, the hospitality staff had gotten things right this time. As she did at the beginning of every service, Raven scanned the congregation and recited Romans 8:30-31 from memory. "Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?" "Amen," everyone responded. It is certainly wonderful to see all of you here today, and as I look out at all your beautiful faces and think about the way you have continued to support me as your pastor and the ministry as a whole, my heart overflows with joy. This is the reason I love Romans 8:30-31 so very much. It confirms my calling from God, not just to become a minister, but to become a pastor. It solidifies my reason for answering his call, even though there were a lot of naysayers. Even though many folks right here in the city didn't believe a woman should organize a church or serve as its leader. But more than that, I am reminded of the woman I used to be, she proclaimed with tears filling her eyes. She paused and swallowed hard, just as she'd watched her ex-husband Dillon do many times whenever he wanted his members to sympathize with him. Raven had also seen the good Reverend Curtis Black breaking down and crying before his congregation. He'd gone on to tell them about his awful childhood and his sinful past, and then announce how God had delivered him from all of it. So Raven had decided early on that there was no reason to change what worked. She also saw no reason to stop insisting that she was called by God to minister, even though, like her former husband, she hadn't been. Her position as founder and pastor of New Vision Christian Center had materialized by choice, and there was nothing wrong with that. Some of you know my story, and some of you don't, but there was a time when I did some terrible things, and while I never